Hello, friends and neighbors, and every listener and viewer. You are plugged into the Paul Leslie Hour, now in our 18th year. Thanks for joining us today. Paul's very special guest is keeping the blues alive with his recordings, and every time he takes the stage. Our guest today is the great blues guitarist and singer, Jimmie Vaughan. Yes, he's here. His 5-CD box set, The Jimmie Vaughan Story, is out now, ready for consumption. The Paul Leslie Hour is made possible through people like you. You want to join those? Be among the supporters? Well, it's easy. Go to thepaulleslie.com. That's thepaulleslie.com and click on Support the Show. And thank you to everyone who contributes. Now, who's ready? Hey, let's get down and get the blues. Here comes Paul with his special guest today, Mr. Jimmie Vaughan. Paul?
Hello?
Hello, this is Paul Leslie.
Yes, it's me, Jimmie Vaughan.
Well, how you doing? Jimmie Vaughan here.
I'm doing great.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Sitting out in the backyard on a sunny day and doing a little interview. What a great thing.
Well, I'm really honored, and on behalf of all the people who are listening in, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Well, this is a thrill for me. I want to properly introduce our special guest. Jimmie Vaughan is one of the blues leading purveyors, practitioners, and players. He's one of the foremost guitarists, a one-of-a-kind singer, a gifted songwriter, and also a recording artist. His 5-CD box set, The Jimmie Vaughan Story, is out now. There's a great variety on there, a fascinating collection. If you want to find out a little more on that, it's on Last Music Company. You can go to lastmusic.co.uk and also find out about the deluxe edition on jimmievaughan.com. So it's great today. We get some of the Jimmie Vaughan Story directly from the source. So
Yes.
it's a pleasure. I just saw your show when you came through Georgia with Clapton. What a show that was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was fun, huh? Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was the first show that I had seen before everything, all the lockdowns and stuff. I saw Tony Bennett on Valentine's Day before the lockdowns, and I needed something special to break that dry spell of no concerts, and that was just the ticket.
All right. Yeah, that was a really fun tour. That was a fun tour. We did 8 shows. We did Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, New Orleans, Nashville, Atlanta, and I think 2 in Florida.
What was it like after that time of not really playing that much in front of huge audiences to be playing in front of a huge crowd?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, we don't care. We like playing in front of a large audience, but just to get to play music is a fun, exciting thing. Even if it's a small club or a big audience or, in between, it doesn't matter. We enjoy doing that. So what's not to love about it? We always have fun, and then the more the merrier.
Amen. Well, I want to tell everybody out there that there's this new music video. It's out now, and man, what a cool music video. It's all done in black and white, and it sounds great, and I'm hoping you can tell us about that.
Okay. Are you talking about Roll, Roll, Roll?
That's right. Roll, roll, roll.
Yeah. Well, Roll, Roll, Roll is a song that we've been doing. We did it in the Thunderbirds we just love this song. It's from Louisiana, and Guitar Junior is where I first heard it. And then that's Lonnie Brooks. He wrote the song and put it out in the 50s, I believe. And we've always loved it. I guess it's a song about having a date with a girl you really like. I don't know exactly what it's about because it's about everything. Having fun, and we're going to boogie fast, boogie slow. Me and that girl, we're going to boogie some more. So it's just, but it was written by Guitar Junior, who is Lonnie Brooks.
Well, it's pure enjoyment. I was reading something that a comment that you made. You were talking about how so many singers, they get around, singers and musicians, they get around to doing the standards, what they call the Great American Songbook. But you phrased something, I thought that's so cool, the American Blues Songbook. I'm hoping you can talk about that.
Uh-huh. Well, if you're a fan of all this stuff that we call blues, and especially the great stuff from the 50s and the 60s, R&B, blues, rock and roll, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of all that because, it's rocking, and we just like to play all these songs because they're fun. And I don't really care about what is going on, what's the current new fad. And I'm just sort of in a fantasy world of all this stuff that I love. I always think of it as, it's like being a painter must be, you have a fresh canvas and you have your paints and you have a paintbrush and you do what you feel. So that's the way I look at it, all this music. Usually when we do one of these songs like Roll, 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 there's the head and then there's the vocal. But when you get to the solo, it's wide open and it's like that paintbrush on the canvas that I'm talking about. You can do whatever you want. But all you have to do is you have to come back to reality and end the song and do the last verse. I don't know, that song really embodies what I love about R&B and blues and rock and roll. It does it all. And it's about, it's about having a good time and doing what you want. Feeling good.
Well, how important are those old blues classics to you? You've interpreted so many of them, and there's quite a few of them on this collection, the Jimmie Vaughan Story.
Well, I play those songs because I love them, and I think there's enough of everybody doing everything else, and so it's okay for me to do these. Like on the box set here, there's a cut where I do Texas Flood, and I do it with the University of Texas marching band, and it was on the halftime at a UT football game at the stadium, and it was raining cats and dogs, and they said, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Absolutely, let's go for it." And so we were out there. When you hear this cut, the Texas Flood live with the UT band, when you hear it, know that it was raining and everybody stayed and had a good time and got wet, You can hear it.
What was it like for you putting this package together? There's just such a wide range of stuff.
Well, it was, I couldn't have done it without Malcolm Mills at the record company. He really did all the hard work. I just had to go through all my stuff and gather it up And he came up with a lot of it. And then we came up with a lot of little oddball things. But it was great to make a record with all these people and take that trip down memory lane and then have it end up, with my latest recordings, which sound like the old recordings, which sound like the new recordings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just been a great trip, and I've really had a good time. So, and it's not over, and it's still going. So I think we're going to be in your area too, right?
Oh,
Coming
yeah?
up?
Coming back through?
And where are you exactly?
I'm just north of Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Well, not yet. I guess we were just there, like you said. But, I used to stay in Atlanta when I was a kid. In the summer times, I would go visit my aunt. And I have a lot of relatives around Roswell and Marietta and over there. So I'm part Georgian. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but we'll take you.
Okay. No, I was just going to say that we had fun when we were there, but I'm sure we'll be back soon.
Oh, yeah.
Because we always play Georgia.
The road goes on forever.
Yes.
It occurs to me, if you listen to your recordings through the years, so much has been said about your guitar playing, rightfully so. Great guitar work. But your voice, you have a great and very, I think, distinct singing voice. How did you develop your voice?
Well, at first, when I first started playing when I was a teenager, when I was 14 or 15, I had a lot of Muddy Waters records and all these, Magic Sam and all these guys like that. And my voice sounded like a little kid. And I didn't want to sing because it sounded like this, And so then in the late 80s, early 90s, when I got with Nile Rodgers and we were going to do the Vaughan Brothers album with Stevie, Nile Rodgers looked at me and he said, "What are you going to sing?" And I said, because I had all these instrumentals. And he said, "What are you going to sing?" And I was like, I didn't want to go home. He said, "You either got to sing or go home." So that was the beginning. And so I just had to jump off the cliff and sing anyway. And I always wanted to be a singer, and I'm still learning. And I think what you have to do is just sing your own voice and not worry about all these great singers. Like if you go and listen to Sam Cooke and Muddy Waters and Otis Redding and so many great singers, it's difficult to imagine because you have so many great singers that you're into. But you have to just sing like yourself. What is your voice? And use your voice and just express yourself. And don't worry about all the other stuff. So that's what I told myself. And then, next thing you know, it actually started sounding okay, And then you have to keep at it. So I'm still a singer in progress. But I think the main important thing is just express yourself.
Express yourself.
That's the only thing I can speak about. Huh?
You said express yourself.
Yes. Just express yourself and sing your way and try to figure out what it is that you do. And that will be rewarding.
I was hoping we could talk about somebody who recently passed away. I just thought we should mention him. Such a great artist. You acknowledged him, and I believe he also played on the Strange Pleasure album. I'm hoping you can just share a little of your memories of Denny Freeman.
Yes. Denny Freeman was a great friend of mine from Dallas, and we moved down here in Austin in the late 60s. You know, we both were from Dallas. We were both guitar players, you know, influenced by all that great stuff that came from Dallas. And we both had dreams of going to L.A. and being in the music business in Los Angeles. We both went out there as young guys. And we both played with a singer called Paul Ray, who was from Dallas. And the California stuff didn't really work out, so we decided the next place that we wanted to go was Austin, just because they had a lot of clubs. You could play down here, and it was a college town. It was not too big, and it was one of the cheapest places in the country when we moved down. Like rent, like you could get a big old wooden 2-story house for, you know, like $75 a month and things like that. So it was affordable, it was fun, and it wasn't Dallas. You know what I mean? So, and I think it's normal for kids to want to split where they're from and go see other parts of the country. But Denny and I both came down here from time to time and finally moved down here. And he was a great guitarist and a great musician. He played piano. He showed me a lot of things. He was very knowledgeable about chords, and he knew his way around on the guitar, where I was more like a dirty blues player. But he was actually very good at playing jazz and different things. And so when he made his solo record, Lead Sled, I think it was the name of it, you know, he called me and I was like, well, I had just got my 6-string bass, and we played 6-string bass on Lead Sled, and that was a painting of my car on the cover of his album. So he was a great mentor and a friend, just a fellow in crime, if you know what I mean. And we always had a great time, and we had the same kind of friends, and we lived in the same area in Austin, and we were actually roommates. We had an apartment together one time, a 2-bedroom apartment, way back in the 70s. So, but he made a lot of really cool records, and he did. You know, the great thing about Denny was that he always did exactly what he wanted to do. Like, he was a real determined guy, and he had his own thing, and he would do it over and over and over and over, and everybody loved him for it. So that Lead Sled song is on the album here. And that was the first time I had recorded with a 6-string bass, which I think I had done 6-string bass, but I don't know if Tough Enough had come out yet. I think this was maybe before Tough Enough, or maybe soon after. But I played the 6-string bass on Tough Enough and several records, and it just seemed like the thing to do on the Denny Freeman cut.
I exchanged some emails with him just maybe about, I don't know, a week and a half before he passed away. I had no idea, but thank you for sharing those memories of Denny.
He was a great guy and a really good friend, and we're really sad he got sick and passed away, and it was just a couple of weeks and he was gone. And we didn't know that he was sick or anything. It was just all sudden, you know. But he was a great guitar player, and stylist would be a word that you could call him. But he could play jazz as well as blues and soul and all that kind of stuff. He was a really good guitarist.
I suppose one of the things, among others, that you had in common with Denny, you know, he toured with Dylan, but you both had recorded with Bob Dylan. Do you have any memories from playing on that Under the Red Sky album?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we were playing at Antone's, all of us, Denny and the Thunderbirds, and all of us were playing at Antone's, and Bob Dylan came through town. This was right after Antone's opened, and Bob Dylan played in town, and so he came over there after the gig and hung out for a couple of days with everybody at Antone's. And I guess, you know, Dylan's always looking for a new way to express his music. So he sort of fell in with everybody and started, you know, talking to everybody and hanging around. And so we got a call, and we knew his bass player, Tony. And so we got a call from Dylan's people, and they said they wanted Stevie and I to come play in Los Angeles on make an album with him. So we were like, well, sure, that sounds like fun. And we went out there and recorded for a couple of days with him. And then, you know, I've gone on tour with him and opened the show with my band, the Thunderbirds, and even the my band, the Tilt-A-Whirl band. And so, you know, we've done it several times together. How the record came about is he came to Antone's. He came through town with his band. I think when they had the what was the Rolling Thunder or something like that years back.
Oh yeah, the Rolling Thunder review.
Yeah. That was when we first met him, and he would come hang out at Antone's. And then later on, all the other stuff developed, you know.
Well, working our way back to the Jimmie Vaughan Story, it's so cool to hear all the different collaborations you've done, the different musicians that you've played with, that you've recorded with. You can hear a lot of that on this collection. Would you say that there has been someone that has taught you the most?
Yeah, I would have to say, you know, when I got to play with B.B. King and Jimmy Rogers and Lazy Lester and all these guys, Dr. John was great. I've learned something from everybody. I've learned Eric Clapton. I mean, you know, just meeting Eric Clapton and being a fan when I was a teenager, and Dr. John and James Cotton. It's overwhelming to even talk about it all, but I've really been fortunate and lucky to get to play with all these people who I call my heroes and mentors, and it's been quite a journey. And then, you know, of course, we met Stevie, and Stevie was my little brother, so I used to, when we were little bitty kids, I was 4 years older, 3.5, 4 years older, depending on the month, and I had to get him to school and get him back because he was my little brother, and it was my job, you know, according to my parents. And we really had a great time, and we really miss him. And it's been 31 years since he got killed. 31.
31.
Well, 31 years, yeah. And, you know, I still get to play every day, and we miss him, and I don't know what to say about it. It was a tragic thing. It was the worst thing that we could have ever imagined, and it happened, and here we are. So a lot of people think about Stevie and miss him and his music, and you know, but and so do I. But I miss my brother, my little brother.
Well, what an incredible gift with all these recordings that we have of him. I'm curious what you thought when you saw that incredible new mural of the Vaughan brothers, you and your little brother.
Are you talking about the artwork in Dallas, or are you talking about?
Yes, sir.
There is a mural in Dallas in Deep Ellum, somewhere over there in that part of town, that is a beautiful thing, and I'm really honored. And then there was last Sunday, we went to the Keys Park, which is a park built, I think, in the 20s in Dallas, and they put some artwork up. It's called the Vaughan Brothers Art Project, and there's a website you can go on and look at it. A fellow from Spain made the artwork, and it's beautiful. Go look up for everyone that's interested. Go look up Vaughan Brothers Art Project in Dallas, and it's a big panel art piece in Keist Park. Okay.
In Keist Park.
Yes, which is an old park, which is around the corner down the street from where Stevie and I grew up in Oak Cliff.
You know, one of the things about this box set, in addition to all this great music, there's the reading material that comes with it. It's not like a little, 2-page brochure kind of deal. It's really in-depth and enjoyable to read. And my attention was kind of grabbed when you were talking about Jerry Lee Lewis and seeing him on television.
Yeah.
Has there been someone that you always wanted to meet that you haven't met yet?
Oh, gosh. I'm sure there is, but, I've been able to meet Kenny Burrell. I've been able to meet Eric Clapton and Lazy Lester and Muddy Waters and Bo Diddley and Buddy Guy and Charlie Muswhite and Delbert McClinton. And, I've been able to meet so many of my heroes, and I think back to when I started playing guitar, when I broke my collarbone trying to play football, and they sent me home, and they said, my dad came home from work, and he said, "What are we going to do with you?" "I don't know." He said, "Just play your guitar and stay out of trouble." So I've been very fortunate. I'm still having fun, and we're still playing. So.
Well, did you ever meet Jerry Lee Lewis?
I did. I was in a movie about him. Gray Balls of Fire, I think was the name of it. It came out in the 90s, the early 90s or something. I played the guitar player in the movie in a lot of the scenes. And Jerry Lee Lewis is a great artist. I don't know if he's a blues singer or a rock and roll singer or a country singer. He's all that, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm a big Jerry Lee Lewis fan of his music, and I love all his records. And I remember when I was a kid, he would come through town, and it was exciting. And I was born in 51, so I remember being 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and watching Jerry Lee Lewis on TV and reading about him. And when he would blow through town, he used to play at a place called the Cowtown Jamboree, which was in Fort Worth, and it was a TV show that was on Saturdays. They used to have TV shows all day Saturday on Channel 11, and it would be a lot of the shows from the little 30-minute TV shows from country singers from Nashville, and then there were some local ones too. And one of them was called Cowtown Jamboree, and they would have Bob Wills or Jerry Lee Lewis or Waylon Jennings or, somebody like that every weekend. So it was great. Channel 11.
there's a portion of an interview in there, and it kind of reminded me a question I asked Greg Fingers Taylor, the harmonica player. I tried to get him to identify the appeal, the power of the blues. Jimmy, could you put it into words about what's the appeal? What is it? What's the power of the blues?
Well, I think what it is, it's 100% American. It's got all elements of country. It's got the elements of hillbilly. It's got the elements of struggles. It's part jazz. It's out in the country, and it's really the framework and the basis for the pop music, in my opinion, of the whole United States, and especially Texas. It doesn't matter if you listen to rock and roll from the 50s or probably music from Nashville these days. It was the first thing. You know, the blues, I think the blues was first. And I think that, you know, the different radio formats, depending on what it was, where it was, it's really all the same, and it's all American music. But I think the roots are in the blues. And, you know, I mean, is it jazz? Is it country? Or is it blues? It's all of that, right?
Yep.
It's everything. So it's like apple pie.
I like that. Well, everybody out there, check out jimmievaughan.com. That's Jimmy with I-E, not Y, jimmievaughan.com. And, Jimmy, can you tell us, is there anything coming up on the horizons that people should know about, or anything that you're planning?
Well, we're doing a tour of the Northeast starting next weekend. It's all on the the East Coast, the Midwest up the top, St. Louis, all the places that we haven't been on the Clapton tour. I hope everybody comes out and checks us out, because we're red hot and we're ready to go. So come check us out.
Well, I can tell you, it's been a great pleasure to do this interview. My dad bought me The Strange Pleasure. It was a cassette when I was like 11. And so it's really like I'm kind of pinching myself to be able to do this. It's been a great pleasure. I'm really honored that you would come on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, and I had a great time. And thanks for all your help. And let's get it on.
Do you have any parting words for our listeners before you go?
Let's see. I would say, play what you feel and have a good time. I don't know.
Sage advice. All right, sir. Well, thank you so much. I hope we get a chance to talk again sometime.
All right. Well, thank you for everything. See you later.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for stopping by today. If you enjoyed our program, consider telling a friend about it. The Paul Leslie Hour is made possible through people just like you. So you want to keep the show going, right? Go to thepaulleslie.com. That's thepaulleslie.com. Click on Support the Show. And thanks to everyone who contributes. Performance of the intro music is courtesy of John Primorano, The Entertainer, written by Scott Joplin. End credit theme music is courtesy of John Primorano, the traditional song Corina Corina. Your announcer is Dan Gold. Hey, that's me. The show is hosted and produced by Paul Leslie. And we'll see you next time on the Paul Leslie Hour.